Hey, Maria, back with another video, and I was watching a video earlier. And by the way, today I think I'm just going to focus on making videos throughout the entire day, since I am my best company, you know what I mean? Since I have to be all by myself, I might as well entertain myself. So I was thinking today, I was watching this video, and the lady in it was really expressing her opinion, and, she and I agreed on so much, and she really kind of inspired me to make this video. I was thinking anyway that, we do live in a male-dominant society, and the very fact that I'm blacklisted for such a stupid reason, even though I believe it had originally started off with race, I do believe that it was extremely sexist, a decision to blacklist me. I just think how women are just looked upon as absolutely nothing in society. I mean, it's like, nothing really that goes on out in the world is really to our benefit, And so the lady in the video today was talking about how she's pro-choice, and I would say that I would agree with her on that issue because I think too many times people are pressured to have children, and I think children are very cute, and I think that if people have the means of taking care of them and their heart is truly, devoted and really wanting to raise that child, then I think that's great. But I think there's just too many people out there who are having children for no other reason other than it's expected of them. And, I get a lot of people who say things like, well, I remember when I was younger, I started to realize, I just don't really want kids. And, but I'm very glad that I have my son, okay? My son's great, but no more after him, no more. But, some people are like, well, I've heard other people kind of coax other people into having kids even when they tell them that they don't want to. And they'll say things like, well, my mother was like for example, has said this before. It's like, well, you got to have just one. And I'm thinking, you know what? Kids are not to be experimented with. You can't just sit here and, give birth to a human being and just kind of use this to see if it's going to work out or not. To me, it's like, you can do far more damage to an individual by trying or experimenting with something that you didn't really feel, sincere about in the first place. All kinds of things happen when women are forced to raise children. I mean, whether that kid grows up to be neglected or ignored, or maybe even experience some sort of physical abuse. To me, I think I'm not saying people should get aborted. Ideally, I think people should do what they can to prevent that from happening in the first place. But in those situations, nobody has the right to judge other people what they're going to do. They just don't. And I have far more respect for individuals who, look inside themselves and say, hey, you know what? I don't think this is for me. I don't think I should raise children. I don't think I have what it takes to have kids, or maybe they're not capable of loving or giving or sharing or leading or guiding that child, and I think it's a responsible decision for people to make. Instead of, giving birth to somebody and seeing it, if you think you can kind of make it work out. That's wrong. That is wrong. And, I too think that I have more of a masculine mindset when it comes to things. I like to think long-term myself as well. This lady was talking about in her video. And I would say that I don't think, sure, don't get me wrong, I love Hello Kitty, I like girl things, I like makeup, I like clothes, I like those things, okay? But when it comes to life in general, like how I see things, I'm not one of those women who are just going to sit there and take a bunch of stuff or go along with something just because I feel like it's supposed to fit. I'm feeling pressure to fit into some sort of feminine role, because I would fit into that role miserably. Okay, I think I did a good job raising my son. I think I could have done better had I had the financial support. Had things not gone badly, where my family wasn't like harassing me and making my life a living hell, I could have provided for him better. But as far as me, he's a very bright child. He started reading when he was young. He was very creative, and I think I did a good job raising him. But in my heart, I don't have any room for any more kids. I don't want them. And I think it's better to acknowledge that than, put another human being in a very awkward situation. There's so many examples of people who thought about having kids but somehow lost enthusiasm for the whole project. Somewhere, by the time the kid's 5 years old, they start showing signs of neglect. They're very lonely, withdrawn. They're kind of being placed in front of the TV set. They don't really have a strong bond with their parents because, it's just something that, in a lot of ways, it's just another burden for another person to take care of. And that sounds very cold, but it is a reality. I mean, there's a lot of people out here who really don't love their children. They just don't. They're just kind of going through the motions, trying to pretend and trying to fit in with everybody else, So I think the best thing for people to do is to really consider, whether or not it's beneficial and that they're really to their own well-being. Is it going to make them happier? Is having a kid really going to add to their happiness? Or is it, and can they add to another person's happiness? Do they have what it takes to really be a supportive parent to the child? And if they don't, they need to recognize that and not create any of those problems. And I don't think, people should start pressuring other people to fit that role. I know so many times, like, when people get married, you got people, oh, you're going to have kids right away. It's always asking people and putting more pressure on people to do something that might be against their nature. Just because people have the reproductive organs to produce children doesn't mean they should produce children. And so that's how I look at it. I think babies are very cute. I think they're cuddly. I think they are, appealing. When you look at them, especially when they have little chubby cheeks and stuff, they're very cute to look at. But in my mind, it doesn't go any further than that. I don't have any desire to have any more kids. And people shouldn't be looked down upon for being that way. They should be fully respected for acknowledging the fact that they're not someone who wants to raise a child, and they're not going to abuse a child. I mean, I'm this way because I have respect for human life, and I have no reason. To feel bad or ashamed of myself because I don't want to be, a housewife. I don't want to be, a soccer mom. Okay, those responsibilities and those duties are good for some people, but not this woman. No way. And that's just not something that appeals to me. I do have a lot of respect for people who do want to raise their own, a bunch of kids, and who have the patience and the love to do that. But, I'm just saying is, hey, you know what? I don't, and I don't think I should feel ashamed about that at all. I think in my life right now, I'm open to, like, maybe being a part-time mom. Maybe, like, if I had a girlfriend who had a kid and they wanted me to, like, babysit it, maybe, like, once or twice a month or something, and kind of go out and shop or something. That would be kind of fun. I do like doing kid things, or maybe, like, doing arts and craft projects with kids or something. That's my way of contributing to children. But as far as, like, me wanting to be a mother and all that stuff, which I'm glad. I would like to say that I really did enjoy raising my son. Okay, if my jobs weren't being sabotaged during that time, it would have been a lot better for me because I would have been in a happier frame of mind. I wouldn't have been in a constant state of worry, and I would have been in a much happier mood. Okay, without worrying about my finances and not having enough money and that sort of thing. That would have been a lot better. But I think I would have enjoyed my son more, and I did enjoy him. I mean, he really brought a lot of light in my life, and I do have sweet memories of him when he was a child and stuff. So, but, you know, that's just as far as it goes, you know, and it's just about knowing yourself, you know. It's about knowing your limitations, what you can and can't do, and there's no shame in wanting to do something outside of what people think is your role in society, and that's how I want to live my life. And any other life, I just don't have the energy or the ability to pull it off. It's just not who I am. So anyway, those were my thoughts on her video, and I think that's all I wanted to say. So have a great day. Bye-bye.